Yo, what's going on, guys? Snack Chin, bringing you another video, except this time we're going to go over the PTS, alright? So, I know I've talked about it. I know I've talked about there being a meta, alright? And I think there is. But it's not what I said it was, alright? So, first we're going to go into abilities, alright? So, we'll go respec. So standard of might now gives you a shit ton of weapon spell damage and a shit ton of damage mitigation. Alright, essentially, what does that say? That's 800 weapon spell damage and 25% damage reduction. Not to mention a 11k tooltip that also immobilizes as a synergy. Alright, that's that morph. Alright, we'll go into the other morph. This one's different. This one is shifting standard, right? This is the one you move around. They basically kept it the same. The exact same. Alright, nothing's changed here at all. Molten Whip. So it splits the cost between Magicka and Stamina. This one's my favorite. It hits incredibly hard. Increases the damage of your next Molten Whip by 33% and your weapon spell damage by 100 for 10 seconds. So basically you just build your stacks from using other Dragonknight abilities, doesn't matter which ones. That builds your stacks. You get to 3, you fossilize, hit them with that, alright? This one right here, I haven't really tried this one out yet, but I imagine that it's pretty strong as well. Okay, Searing Claw converts into a stamina ability. This one does a significant amount of damage. Does a little bit more damage than Burning Embers, but I don't know if you guys watch Anime's boobs videos. Burning Embers is better. The passive heal is just really strong. And you know, like he said, it scales off your max health. So look at that right there. That's 1,000 health each subsequent tick. All right, scaling off your max health. That's incredible. Okay, I don't know why I don't have it on. I thought this was gonna be bad, but it's pretty good. It's just meant to be comboed right with D-Leap. Initial hit interrupts enemies that are casting. Final explosion damage increased. So it gives you stamina and Magicka recovery back, which is awesome. It's awesome because I don't know if you guys ever played a inhale build. Not this shit, but the other shit. Sustain can be ass, especially when you're trying to combo and you're trying to hit everything at once. It almost completely drains you of Magicka. So this is nice because it kind of balances out that cost. Heart of Flame adds a heal based on missing health, so this will basically heal you, scaling off your missing health. That's pretty solid. A little less damage though. I like damage. Hearth and Home, this is where it's at. Alright, so now this is a protective flame, alright, and we'll cast it here in a second, but throws out a projective flame for 15 seconds and it's a fat AoE. Alright, I don't know if you guys can see the radius. It's 8 meters. That's pretty fat. Alright, so it scales off your max health to heal, and healed targets gain minor fortitude and minor heroism, so you get ultimate faster. It increases your health recovery. That's not important for PvP, but it generates 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds. You gain major protection while inside, reducing damage taken by 10%, so you no longer need Monomyth, guys. I'm gonna put this in you guys' head right now, right? Unless you're on like an acuity build or some crit heavy build, honestly, I don't feel like Monomyth is even worth it anymore. The only thing you'd be using it for is the major force. But do you really need the major force? You know what I mean? In my opinion, I just think it's not worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I've tried dueling on Order's Wrath. I've tried dueling on other crit different builds, and so far I've noticed that crit is kind of like blah, you know. Mainly because, we're going to get into this, mainly because of the 2H alt, alright? So when you morph this and you go into Onslaught, it now grants penetration rather than resistances and guarantees critical chance before shorter duration, alright? So this attack ignores the target's resistance and grants you physical and spell penetration equal to 100% of the amount ignored, alright? So basically, you get corrosive. Because if you're fighting somebody and they got 35k resistances, well, guess what? Now you got 35k pin. Alright? Plus then some, plus your base pin. Alright? And it gives you 100% critical chance for 5 seconds. That's an acuity proc. Alright? That's a free acuity proc. Which is why I say, you don't really need monomyth. You know? If you really want to go for a crit build, just run this. And then I mean, you could really run any mythic, Sea Serpent's Coil, Death Dealer's Fede, especially because everything pretty much scales off your max health, like your sustain and healing and shit. So it all scales off your max health, so it'd be better to just run Death Dealers than really anything else. Which, you know, I haven't tried Death Dealers yet, mainly because I'm talking from an aspect of open world. There's not really any open world PvP on PTS. It's all duels basically. And dueling, I'd say. I mean, if you wanted to run monomyth, you could, but it's not worth it, because the back bar, you already get major protection from Ash Cloud. You know, you get minor heroism, you reduce their movement speed, and it's another heal, you know, which is primarily what I used monomyth for, was just to free up a slot. I don't got a slot flare, do anything crazy, just throw on monomyth, and you know, you're tanky on your back bar. With this, you get it on your front bar as well, so there's really no point in running monomyth with this new update. Alright. Burning Talons. I don't know if I went over everything in here. No, I didn't. Incinerate, alright. Activate an aura of flames which launches a wave of flames every 5 seconds. Each hit has a 15% chance of applying burning. While slotted on either bar, you get major prophecy and increase your weapon spell critical by 2,629. Alright. Let's talk about that. It's dookie. Alright. I don't really care for it, mainly because if you look at it, every 5 seconds, so it only lasts 15 seconds, so that's only 3 times it's going off in 15 seconds. Alright, so that might seem like it's a lot of damage or decent damage, but the 5-second is a big deal. Alright, it only has a 15% chance of applying burning compared to Burning Embers. This initial hit always applies the burning status effect. Alright? You could argue, oh, well, Major Prophecy and Savagery. But again, 2H ult. Alright? 100% crit when you hit that shit. Alright? 100% pit. Alright? You don't need it. You really don't. Most builds are going to be ult, like on DK, they're going to be ult oriented, alright? Like, you're gonna have to pop your ult to kill somebody, because I don't feel like there's enough damage without the ultimate. Yeah, so let's go over the passives, alright? When you apply burning to an enemy, you restore 2,225, which is why this is so good. As soon as you apply burning, you're immediately getting resources back. And it occurs every 1 second. So as long as that's up, not only are you getting the passive heal, you're also getting passive sustain. Alright? This right here, dealing direct damage with the Art of Flame ability causes the target to take 5% increased flame damage and reduce their movement speed. Alright? So, Art and Flame ability. Any of these, alright? That increases their damage taken. It's pretty crazy. And it reduces their movement speed, so they're slow as fuck. Tend to your garden of flame that it may flourish. Increase your chances of applying the burning status effect by 100% and its damage done by 50%. These values are influenced by the number of Dragonknight abilities slotted. Okay? So essentially, if you're going pure DK like I am on this build pretty much, you're basically hitting extremely hard. Alright? I don't know why I paused there. You're basically hitting extremely hard. That's up to a 50% damage increase, and they're influenced by the number of Dragonknight abilities slotted. I wish there was more context into that, but oh well. That just tells you if you're running pretty much every DK ability on here, on your shit, that shit's gonna slap. Alright, that passive alone is gonna be crazy. Alright, and this is what's awesome, alright? This gives you an 8% healing taken by 8%, or I already said that. Increases your healing taken by 8%, alright? This shit is good, alright? DK's always kind of needed a little healing passive to kind of help balance it against Plar. Alright? So now we're going to get into Take Flight. I don't really like this morph. A lot of people are using it. It does increase your damage done by 10%. It does knock them back. The other one gives you a shield. I like the shield better because it knocks them into the air. So it knocks them right up. So if you knock them straight up in the air, you can hit them with an executioner. And it just desyncs them. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, I would rather run the 2H ult than Corrosive. Like, personally, that's what I would... Those are the two choices that I would run. As for like a primary ultimate of what I'm going to use. Corrosive... Yep, it's like the main thing that's killing me in duels, alright? And the animation is different, so you don't really know when it procs. So, any second, you could just go from 100 to 0 really quick. Call forth Talons. Oh, this right here, we're going to get into this, alright? Because this shit is where it's really going to broken. This is going to apply Major Breach. It does fire damage now. It applies burning. That's great and all. It's effective. But this right here, I found out something about this the other day. And this is what's going to be broken. Alright? This beam, I'm going to throw this out there right now. This beam is non-interruptible. You can't bash it. There's nothing you could do to get that channel to stop except CC. But here's the thing. When you CC them, they have no CC cooldown on that ability. So if they get CC'd and they pop out, they can immediately hit it again. Alright? And this is going to be really strong with Corrosive and Acuity in open world. You know? Even some bombers. I wouldn't be surprised if I see a bomber running around, you know, hitting this channel ability and nuking people in BD. You know? Because you just pop in a move ability, you can't get CC'd, and you can't get bashed. So they're forced to take all that damage, especially if you're at a good line of sight cone. They're dead. Alright, there's nothing they will be able to do. Okay? Burning Talons. They pretty much kept that the same. Like, there's not really much change at all. So this scales off your offensive stats now. It's called Blood of the Elder Dragon now. It heals you for 8,450. I'm not buffed up, so it's more than that. And it does still scale off your missing health as well. So if you look at the thing, now heals based on your offensive stats rather than health, but weirdly based on missing health. So it might scale off both. All right, it might scale off both. But that I'll have to like look into more. This is really cool. You get major expedition, and you get an immunity to snares. So this is going to be really strong for open world. It basically knocks back enemies around you and then stuns them for 1.8 seconds. All right. So that's going to be great for like just getting people off of you and then, you know, keep moving. Really great for kiting. Chains of Devastation. Now this is fun. All right. Fossilized chains. D-leap into what you call it? Whip. Good combo. All right. It gives you not only a major berserk but major evasion. It has a decent tooltip. Yep. It's pretty strong. Alright, so Dragon Scales will turn aside arrow, fire, and blade. Increase the amount of damage you block. OP for staying alive. Dragons leave naught but ash, ruin in their wake. Increase your damage done with area and over time. Affects attacks by 7%. OP. The eldest dragons are forces of nature. Activating the draconic ability grants you and group members minor brutality. OP. Health recuv. No one's ever given a shit about that in PvP. The syllables of that tongue live in the mouth of every Dragonknight. When you cast an ultimate ability, you restore 16 health, 16 mag, and 16 stamina for each. So basically, anytime you cast an ability, it's pretty much just giving you, yeah, quite a bit quite a bit of sustain back. Quite a bit. Alright. So we can corrosive, alright? Because there was a nerf on this. Ignite the molten lava in your veins, limiting incoming damage to 8% of your max health and dealing 4,290 flame damage to nearby enemies each second for 10 seconds. While active, your attacks ignore enemy physical spell resistance, but you cannot generate ultimate, alright? Still OP, because, and I'll show you guys the animations, and then I'll show you guys clips of duels that I've had, where you can just see for yourself all the broken shit that's in this game right now. Well, active, yeah. So the animation's different, so you don't see it, like you don't pay attention, because I'm used to like hearing the like roar, and then you know the little green shit, or you know some people are really good at cloaking it, but I'm usually used to the sound animation, so I listen for that cue, but I don't get it because the animation's fucked. Like I don't see it coming. All right. Okay, so superheated award. Whirl the air around you or an ally, granted a damage shield. Blah 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 blah. The morph of that volcanic ward adds damage reduction to the next attack. Heals when the shield ends. Whirl the air around you or an ally, granted a damage shield. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. That skill's pretty dookie. It might be better now. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna be great. So this right here is pretty OP. If you pair this with Pyrobrand, it's actually it's crazy. It's crazy as fuck. All right. So charge you and your grouped allies' weapons with volcanic power to gain major brutality and sorcery, increasing your weapon spell damage by 20% for 1 minute. While active, dealing damage with light and heavy attacks causes an additional 1,264 flame damage, up to once every 2 seconds. OP. Not only does it give you major brutality, but it also applies another dot that hits them every 2 seconds, so it stacks with Pyrobrand. It's pretty good. A lot of people will be naysayers and say Pyrobrand and Rally, or you know, that shit's not as great anymore, or Pyro's not that great. But here's the thing: if you are absolutely efficient with animation canceling and you are really good at that, you're gonna be fine. That shit will slap. All right, I've tried Pyrobrand on many different setups for years since it came out. I had that shit day one. All right, I'm a little bit of a sweat. I see a set that I really like, or I was super excited for, and I farm it out, and that's what I did, and I've been using it. And before subclassing, I was consistently beating really good players on console and duels using Pyrobrand. Alright, Pyrobrand Oak Fathers. And the only people that I would really lose to on that build were people who were using Pyrobrand and Oak Fathers. Alright, so that being said, Pyrobrand is really strong, alright, but it's not the only option. There's tons of other different combos and different things that you can do, which we will get into. Obsidian Shield is pretty much the same. Yeah, it's not really that great unless you want the major mending, but you can just run Resto Staff, so I mean, that skill's kind of just useless because the shield's just not great at all. Alright, Shattering Rocks. This one heals you. The target takes flame damage. It applies Minor Breach. Alright, so DKs now have Major Minor Breach in their toolkit. OP. Fossilize. Adds Minor Vulnerability instead of Minor Breach. No, it still applies Minor Breach, which makes this even stronger. So, adds Minor Vulnerability, extends duration, immobilized after the stun ends. In case an enemy in Molten Rock, the stun cannot be blocked, but it can be dodged. Alright, it can be dodged. Damage to enemy and heals you when it stuns. When the stun ends, alright? This one right here. Envelop your body in molten spikes to increase your damage done by 100 and gain major resolve, increasing physical and spell resistance by 5,948 for 20 seconds. Power drawn from the heart of a volcano forms a dragon shield or damage shield around you that absorbs up to 10,160 damage for 6 seconds, scaling off your max health. Alright, that shield I've noticed is really strong. Alright, you could argue volatile armor is good. It is good. I mean, it has another dot. Look at that. As the armor forms, you blast foes around you with shattered obsidian. Either one is good. If you're used to popping this, and vigor, then use this. If that's what you're comfortable with. If you're okay with more bursty setups, then use this. And less survivability, then use this. Alright? Rock and stone shield your heart, turning aside sharp blades and barbed wards. Increase your armor by 2,974. That had a lot of lore in all these passives and shit. Increase your armor by 2,974. Alright, that's strong. Given time, the smallest rock on the mountain can cascade into pure devastation. Whenever you deal damage with, you gain a stack of avalanche, which increases your damage done by 1% per stack up to 10 times. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds, so essentially, the longer the fight drags out, the more damage you stack, up to 10%. It's pretty strong. Where earth meets sky is a wellspring of power you can trap at will. When you cast an earthen heart ability in combat, you generate 3 ultimate. This effect can occur once every 3 seconds. So basically, anytime you hit the shattering rocks, anytime you hit that, you're getting ultimate, alright? The strength of mountain fuels your mightiest blows. Dealing damage with a fully charged heavy attack also applies off balance to the target and restores 1430 stamina. The stamina restore can occur once every 0.5 seconds. So anytime you hit somebody with a fully charged heavy attack, it applies off balance and restores stamina. Alright? That's pretty OP for if you're trying to make a stamina build, alright? So we're gonna get into the DK changes. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, alright? This shit, it's alright. It's not bad. We'll get into animations for you in a second. It's alright. It's not gonna be the meta. Alright? This ability is not gonna be the meta. This right here is gonna be the meta. Alright? This still fucking strong. I was doing people and like they would get me down to like 1% health and boom, my rally would pop back to full health immediately. In my opinion, this skill will always be underrated. It's too strong. It's really strong. And I really like it. Alright? But this right here is going to be meta. Because like I said, 100% crit chance, penetration. That's going to be one part of the meta. Alright? Now, there's a few different things that I've noticed. Alright? On day 1, people ran Pyrobrand and Rally. Alright? And already, bro, I was tired of that shit. I was like, you know what, bro? Fuck this shit. My homie Patrick hooked me up. But I already knew about Shared Pain, but he helped me like refresh it in my mind. So I decided I was gonna go put on Shared Pain and run Pyrobrand. And so I did. And I was countering that Pyrobrand Rally pretty easily. It was so Pyrobrand Rally, it fucking slaps, alright? I think that's probably going to be what most people are going to try out first or run first in dueling setups. A smart player would lose to that once and go, I'm putting on Shared Pain and go and beat that guy. You see what I'm saying? So that's going to be the counter meta to the heavy dot DK, alright? Shared Pain and your choice of damage set. You can run No Arca, you can run Pyrobrand, you can run Reliquin. Pretty much anything with Shared Pain as a damage set, as long as you still get your Undaunted passives with your 3 heavy, 3 medium, 1 light, then bada bing, bada boom, you know, you got yourself a counter meta build. What you do is you pop Corrosive. Once you see that Shared Pain starting to add up on them, you fossilize them and then you end their shit. Alright? So that's going to be a good strong counter meta to that. But here's the most broken thing that I've noticed, alright? So, alright. So, here's some builds that I'm running, alright? So, like I said, I got the Shared Pain on with the Sea Serpent's Coil. Okay? As you can see, all the abilities here. Learn Hone, Sharpen, Bat Staff, Medium. I know some people are probably going to go, why Divines? I'm going Divines because simply in 1v1s, you don't really need a whole lot of imp in. You really don't. Especially against another DK. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I personally don't feel like I'd rather go divines for like a damage buff or something, you know. Sea Serpent's Coil, Shared Bane, Shared Bane. Alright, and then this was the other one that I made. Another setup I made with the new Mythic. This one was really strong. It's pretty much the same setup. The only thing I swapped out was the Mythic, alright? So this one I was using the new Mythic, which is fucking busted, by the way. Alright? But yeah, those are two of my builds so far. I really like them. I got another tune that we're about to go check out real quick. Alright, so essentially, if you fossilize them, you see how much damage that was? It's a one-shot. It's practically a one-shot, right? Against somebody, it's practically a one-shot. Alright? Because all the animations hit at once. So they all look the same, not that they hit all at once. So I mean, if you hit them all at once, you're supposed to hit them all at once. Not my point. The animations look very similar. So whenever you hit that shit, people are gonna die and it's gonna be like, what the fuck just hit me? You know what I mean? Alright, so we'll do that again. I mean, that's a lot of damage. I mean, you guys see that shit, right? That's a lot of damage. Just right there, that's like a 35k burst. But I didn't even, like, you know, like that was 45k on just that one dummy. Well, that was just a dummy. But you guys are gonna see some clips here in just a second. How OP that shit is, alright? Now we're gonna get into that fucking 2H ability, alright? So first, let's do this, alright? I wanna show y'all something. I want to show y'all something. Check this out. This is what I'm talking about. This is the one that you can't CC. You can't bash this shit. You CC this shit, they come out of that CC, there's no cooldown. Guess what? You CC them, coming out and doing that right back again. What's going to make that really strong in open world is corrosive. People are going to pop corrosive, pop the movability, and nuking that shit. Alright? If you look at the tooltip for that shit, 5,000 every 0.5 seconds and a channel attack over 4.8 seconds, but it increases by up to 80% based on how many people it is. Alright? That's broken. That's broken. Alright? It's going to be really strong in open world. 1v1s, you could argue, you know, you could sidestep the shit. It's going to be a little less predictable in open world, especially with line of sight. Alright? So, 2H, watch this shit. I try to light attack. So it is, and you can light weave it. Alright? It's a little clunky. It feels weird at first. Arguably, there's better skills to use. I mean, if you're just spamming this shit, you know, but you'll get stuck in that. You'll get stuck in that cast on. See what I'm saying? Effectively, with this, you got to. See what I'm saying? You gotta wait for it to go off, you know. Even I'm still kind of trying to figure it out. Alright? Even I'm still trying to figure it out. It's a little clunky. That's why I don't really care much for it. Rally is still really good, so that skill will be good if you're using 2H. Yeah, I mean... So, yeah, I mean, it's not instant. So 0.5. Yeah, it's not instant. It's not that great, guys. You could use it, but it's not that good. Alright. Yeah, with this setup, this is the Order's Wrath build that I was talking about. Orders Wrath, Roxa, Rally Cry. I tried it with Monomyth. I just don't think you need it. I mean, this alone gives you major protection on your backboard, you know? So I'd rather run a different mythic. But like for that combo with the 2H, the Fossilize, and then into the whip, I would rather run Pyroprint or a different setup, you know, like a different proc damage. I'd rather run that over Orders Wrath, because like I said, you can already get the 100% crit chance from Onslaught. Alright, so that being said, DK animations are fucking badass. Check out the corrosive queue. This is corrosive. Yeah, you can kind of see why you don't really notice it. Whenever you pop the Fossilize and the Fire Breath and you start breathing fire and shit, it's almost like you don't even see it. You know what I mean? So, and the sound cue is different, you know? Like, you were all used to the war. Listen to this shit. It's a little bit different. So, yeah. It's interesting though. All the changes that's being done on DK right now are pretty insane and a lot of fun. That being said, enjoy the clips and peace out, guys.
I couldn't say that you were ever mine to save. I'm just a loser with a cape on, but I feel like Superman today. Was feeling low, but now we're flying, switching lanes. I don't wanna jinx it, knocking on the dashboard, wood grain. Got no time to stress about some shit I couldn't change. It was fate, we were lovesick, starstruck, young and with our heads in the sand. But now we're out here in the ocean, I don't wanna lose you again. Can we ride these waves?
I've been pacified, hoping that you wanna talk about it, but the coastline sounds just fine, so we can save talk for a little while. Doesn't need to be too deep. So if the coastline sounds alright, then we can save talk for a little while and drive.
Save talk for a better time.
Tell me what's the point if I lose myself? Spend a couple days with nobody else, holding in my breath just to see if I can find you in my dreams. Oh, I'm getting tired of losing faith.